Welcome to Gamer Consultant City, a perfect city with more than 7,000 people and everything is working perfectly. We don't have any trucks running around. If you click over here, you'll see I do have some trucks, but they are all paused like this, and we haven't actually used any. If you look over here, even last 12 months, there hasn't been any trucks doing anything. Everything is belted. We don't need any of the trucks. And speaking about the last 12 months, basically what I've done is I've been letting this city run for now more than 24 hours without touching anything, and it's working perfectly. You can see, all of the resources are very high. None of them are really decreasing. Sometimes there's a small dip, but then it goes back up just right away. So this is, again, in my opinion, a city that is perfect. There's a number of buildings that have been paused, but you will see this is working really well. So let's do a tour of the city, because to be honest, I had to make a few more changes than what I expected at the end of the last episode. Because by the way, yes, this is the last episode for our series of Update 2. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below. If you're just tuning in now, you can see, the full playlist. How did we arrive here? You can also see how much the map has changed. Remember, we used to have a very small island over here, a very small island there. We used to have tons of mountains everywhere. Now all of those mountains are gone. As you can see, this is basically completely flat everywhere, except here we created some mountains and we never touched that one, but everything else is super flat. We've also replanted many trees, as you can see, to make my city a bit cleaner. We also have surfaces, right? Custom surfaces in different places, roads, right? So we can follow this road, for example, over here in my city. We have all of the food coming here, right? And here we get towards the farms. Then we have over here my nuclear facilities that is now linked to the data centers. So again, a lot of changes. First of all, let's go over here. You can see that the old nuclear reactors completely be decommissioned, right? We have used all of the waste, all of the old materials that were here. Everything is used, so we decommissioned it. And so now we're only using a fast breeder here. We have the blueprint for 4. We have 2 that are actually on, right? That is why you can see 2 here are not built, 2 here are not built, and similarly over here we have 2 lines not built, but 2 lines built. We have a lot of reserves here of this depleted uranium, which will, is built like everything else, right? It's built all the way over here, over there, right? It will go here, and this will be used from time to time to make some blanket fuel, sorry. If you haven't seen in my previous guide, to the reactors, to the fast breeder reactors, the reality is they require very, very little inputs, but everything is ready here. We both have a lot of depleted uranium, and when this will be completely finished, then it's gonna switch to this other chemical plant here that's using yellow cake. The yellow cake is made through these buildings using uranium ore, and even the uranium ore is coming, over here through a contract. We're giving some lab equipment level 4 against this uranium. So obviously, this truck or this this ship hasn't done any back and forth in a very long time. But when in, I don't know, 1,000 year, 2,000 year, when this thing is completely empty, then that's going to start. So yeah, that's my, fast breeder reactor. As you can see also, I've tried to clean the pipes a lot, right? They're all pretty clean. They're all next to each other. Even here, right, you can see they're all pretty clean. It's not perfect, but, it's very straight. You can see all of the pipes pretty easily. So we have this over here. It is taking, as we said, the lab equipment level 4. It's going to create things like recyclables, right? We create over here, some fission products. Some fission product then is retired into recyclable. But yeah, this recyclable goes here into this belt all the way here, right? And then directly moves into our base over there. So we do have a few trees. As I said, we cannot plant trees where we had some, not soil, but I feel that's making it very natural. We have over here, the 3 different goods: the household, the appliances, and the electronics. All of this is of course belted too, made over here and belted this side. We bring a couple of these resources like the glass mix, the filter media, the sand. All of this, right, is coming either from my nuclear facility or also on this side. And you can see the sand is coming over here. It's coming into my reprocessing plant. It's actually a lot smaller than it used to be. I have optimized it, instead of having 4 of these, we only have 3. We don't have any of the coal or anything like this. It's basically very self-sufficient. The only thing that we need is actually the sand, and the only thing that we create is the sulfur. You could burn it completely, and we have this burner over here if needed. But first of all, I'm actually sending it into the food, because you may remember we need some for food. So this is again working really well. We have the water here. The fresh water is coming from this, plus is also coming from my nuclear facility that's making more water than what we need. And yeah, everything else is on site, as I said, so really good. We have also stopped, taking the sludge into compost, because we can't drop the compost anywhere. I don't have any trucks anymore, right? So instead we are burning the sludge. It is making a bit more of pollution than before, but at least it doesn't require any trucks at all. And then yeah, here we have all of our food, as as I've shown in the past. You can see I'm providing all types of food. There's tons of reserve, so that's working really well there. And we also have the medical equipment level 3, the highest level possible, into my gamer's anatomy, my clinic. This is all coming from here, right? We have this big belt here. We have the medical there, where half is paused because I only need half of it. Right, so you can see every time there will be half paused, but otherwise this is working really well. And here we have the food. Similarly, there's a couple of ones that are paused because we just don't need them. I could delete them, but I'm leaving them in case you want to expand even further. You already have them, because yes, I'm going to make this save available to you all on my Discord community. So we have over here again, all of the food production. It is requiring a bit of salt and water, which is made directly on site over here. So everything is belted, right? It does require quite a few resources that we used to have. You may remember we used to have over here a couple of depots. Now all of these are coming on those belts, right? So we need, for example, a bit of steel, a bit of glass, plastic, acid, and rocks. And then we are actually making some slag, right? So we need to also take care of that slag. It's not like it can stay there. This is over here, right, where we're taking the rocks and some acid to make the hydrogen fluoride and transforming into slag. So yeah, all of this has been belted, and you'll see this is coming on this new bridge here all the way from the main bus. We'll follow that in a second. The water production I have also cleaned, right? There's a couple that are paused because they're not needed, but most importantly, the way I've cleaned it is I've reorganized it into different blocks. Like this is all of the water that's needed for these 2 lines, right? You can see this is what's happening. These pipes are coming over here. Then this is all of the water that's needed for those lines here. Then we have here all of the water that's needed for this line here, and then this one for this line here, right? So it's all organized as sort of 1 line per, and therefore I always have enough water. There's never not enough water in the irrigation tank. This is the perfect productivity. I've also paused some of the farms because again, we had a bit too many. The data centers have also changed. You can see we have now more. We have 6 of them, and I've also put actually a couple more of these just to be safe. The water is over here, right? This is actually water that's coming from the nuclear facility, so we're really not wasting any water. And of course, it is first the water that comes from these that's going to be used. But just in case we need, every time we take 30, we only make 24, so we are losing 6, and this is why we have this one there. There's of course alerts everywhere, but as you can see, there is no alert at all there because everything is working perfectly. So this is basically everything that there is here. So let's move on this side. We used to have a big forest, right? That was a forest industry. Now we don't need the forest industry because we've automated this with, you know, one of the contracts. If we go over here, we have a contract for wood. I'll show it to you in a second. We do still have a few trees, you know, I could cut them, but I felt it was good to leave a few. And we've made all of this flat, right? That wasn't flat before. We've actually also extended on this side. Right, so if you need even more boats, you can easily put boats on this side. And then we actually get into the main production bus. You may remember in the previous episode, I explained how this bus over here works and how this one works. But we'll quickly go through it, in particular the contracts. I did add over here two things, right? This is the rocket assembly depot and this is the rocket launch pad. And even this is fully belted, you know, you don't even need any trucks for this. We could actually take a second to launch this. You know, if I unpause this one, you will see now that we're creating a new rocket. Hoping that in the future, you know, we'll get even more. Why? Oh, it's the, because we're in slow mode. So it's going to take a second to create a new one. But while this is happening, you know, what we can do is actually launch this one. There's already one here. It requires some hydrogen and some water. We have all of this. So let's go. Start the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Here it is. First rocket for this playthrough. Obviously, we launched a couple in our last playthrough. But for this one, this is basically the end of the game. Not the end of the episode, we're gonna cover everything else, but you can see this is the end of the game. And with the credits, right, with in particular the two main developers that created most of it before they got a bit of help. And as you can see, right, we're talking about a lot of great people that of course also helped, right, in the community and the backers. So a big thanks to all of them. I think my name is somewhere. I'm not gonna look for it. It's gonna take some time. But yeah, now we can go back and finish flattening the entire island. The island is already flattened, that's fine. But yeah, we have, you know, the rocket that has been sent into space, and very soon, congratulations, very soon we will have a new one that's gonna come out here. And as you saw, you know, everything is belted. We have over here the water and the hydrogen, and then on this side here we have the 3 resources needed: the steel, the electronics level 2, and the gold. That's getting directly in. So let's take a second to see the rocket come out of the warehouse. And then why is it not? It's coming now. Here it is. Wow, beautiful, as you can see. Here it is, it's coming out. Love it. No, we're talking about the end game, and they still spent a lot of time making this animation. Love it. This game really is a gem. So we have the rocket coming out. It is, the door is opening, and it's gonna be delivered, you know, to the pad there. Accelerating the time quickly. It's a big rocket. And with this, we're making another one, as you can see, right? So perfect here. We do get also, by the way, some Unity if you launch it. So that's really cool. If I go over here, we should be able to find it. Rocket launch, right? We got one. While we're here, by the way, let's take a quick look. As you can see, we have a lot of Unity, a lot more Unity than what we're using. But it is also not always flat, right? Remember that you have the cost of your contract, but you also have the cost every time you do one, you know, that increases slightly. And similarly for the health, we have great health boost from the food, from healthcare, and I also put the edX. Right? This way, even when we have a disease, a sickness, we are usually in positive. We do have some pollution, of course. You know, this is not a playthrough where I have no pollution, because I think this is very hard when you do things like no trucks over here and others. But yeah, we have the new one that's over here. So let's continue, and in particular, let's double check, you know, all of the different recipes that we have. Now, first of all, I actually have two recipes for the iron ore. We have one with fervors, and then we have a second one over here, which is with those vehicle parts level 2. Now, in the current, in this current sort of, let's say, state where I'm not building anything new, I don't actually need both. But I have found that when I was building a lot of new things, when, for example, I was destroying a lot of pipes, building new ones, my consumption, my need for iron was a bit too high for just one of these. So that is why I built a second one for you. This way, if you want again to take this on and expand it further, start building stuff, you should definitely still be able to do it without any trucks. So yeah, this is working over here, right? We're giving a bit of servers and getting a lot of iron ore. This is crushed, and then the iron ore crushed goes into this one belt. And as you can see, I've also tried to clean over here a bit. This is a lot more kind of organized. There's not a lot of tons of spaghetti. It's like one belt for each. And you can see here, right, we get to the second one. We have this, you could even put a priority on one or the other if you wanted, right? And then it goes over here into the iron and the steel. So that's the first one over here. Then we have the second one, which is for limestone, right? Limestone is actually linked to the construction part level 2, right? So you can see the construction part level 2 coming from my megabus. It goes there. We have also obviously the fuel, and then all of this limestone goes into the belt here. Then over here we have the cement, and this cement is used for the coal. Now we did change. In the past we had coal to make cement. Now we move to the most efficient one, which is actually with hydrogen. It's making double the amount of cement, right? The coal one was only making 3, this one is making 6. And also instead of exhaust, it's making carbon dioxide. So obviously a lot less of pollution, but also, as I said, this is able to make a lot more of cement. So again, in a state where you're building a lot of things, you will see that this is necessary. So we're sending the cement here, and then whatever is needed can continue here to make some concrete, right? We've made also a change here too, which is that for the concrete, instead of using the the gravel, we're gonna use first the slag crushed. Because remember, we're making slag and I need to do something with it, right? So the slag that's coming from both this side and that side will go on this belt here. And you see there is this pipe balancer that says priority go there. All right, so the priority is to go into this crusher to make some crushed. And then if this is full, like right now, then you can go into this pipe and we'll see what this pipe, belt, and we'll see what this belt does. So yeah, we have the slug that goes here, but just in case this is ever any time empty, it should never be, right? But if ever, we have also the rock, the gravel on the other side, because we're getting rock from the map. We are also using this rock, and that's why I kept it over here, to make the filter media that we need, for toxic slurry over here. So that's why this is happening over here with a bit of sand and coal, and it goes on this one here. Remember, it goes all the way over here to the nuclear facility. So yeah, with this, we're making, the concrete over here. The concrete goes into that one, and it goes into the actual belt there. Next, to be able to do this, we do need hydrogen. We are actually making hydrogen over here. This is this pipe you can see there, right? But this is usually not enough. We're just making a bit into this pipe. So we also have a production of hydrogen over here that's just using water, right? So this is basically a free production. It just costs a bit of electricity, but remember, we have now tons of electricity with our fast breeder. So this is a no-brainer, and another reason why I have moved here into this one instead of using coal. We are making water and salt next to it. This is again using nothing, right? We're just using the boiler electrics to make some steam, and then the steam is gonna make water and brine. The brine goes into salt, right? The salt goes over here, and the water will be used, you know, in many places. For example, over here we need water. We need water there somewhere. Where is it? Over here we need water, right? So all of these often need water, so that's what's needed there, made there. Then we move to the next one, which is for the sand, or to be more precise, the quartz. We're going to give vehicle parts level 2, and this is why you can see the only one that's often a bit in the red here, even if you probably have seen it still hasn't changed in the beginning of the episode, right? And it started the episode at 10k, it's still at 10k, and even if I click on this, you know, can search here vehicle parts level 2, right? You can see quantity. My quantity is flat, right? It's just that it is always going a bit up and down because we're using a lot into all of my contracts. But yeah, we're you know, giving a bit of vehicle parts and getting the quartz. Then the quartz is crushed into quartz crushed, and then the quartz crushed into sand goes here. The sand goes then onto the main belt. Next one over here, this is actually my oil one, right? Oil one that is actually making for free the gold and the oil. We looked at this one in the past. I'm not going to go into details, but yeah, you can see on, on this side, I'm selling diesel to make gold. So the gold goes here, right? And then with this gold, I'm then selling less gold to get more crude oil. And then the crude oil here is transformed into the diesel. So yeah, we're making a lot of diesel, we're making a lot of gold. And some of that diesel, by the way, is also used over here, right, for all of these ships. Then we continue. This is the one I showed you previously, or the vehicle parts into iron ore, then it's crushed. Next to it, we have the same one, but for copper, using the lab equipment level 2 in this case. So this is why, you know, we do have a couple of different, this one is the lab equipment there, but next to it we had, you know, the vehicle parts. We're crushing it. And then here, this is, I think, new, because this is quite important, you know, to have a city that is really self-sustainable, is what are we doing with all of the slag? Remember, we were sending the slag there, and then I said there's another belt when it's full. This is this belt that comes all the way over here. And this belt is going to fill this cargo ship. This cargo ship is going to send the slag and get us some sour water. So when the sour water comes, it goes into those pipes here, and then it's going to go into all of those sour water strippers with a bit of steam, which is made out of water over here, to make the sulfur, the ammonia, and a bit of water. So the water, of course, will help, you know, over here to make even more of the steam, and otherwise we're just gonna send it into here. And then the ammonia is actually making the hydrogen. I was telling you earlier, we're making some hydrogen for free. This is this one over there. And just in case we need more, right, we were making more there. And the sulfur then will go this side into here. We're gonna have, you know, a pipe balancer, where the priority, as you see, is to go this side. But in case it is ever full, we have a lot of burners here to burn this, so there's never a problem. Then I have taken out all of the exhaust scrubbers. We used to have a lot of exhaust scrubbers next to each of the blast furnaces and things like this. They're all gone. They're all centralized in one place. You can see we have one place where we have all of those exhaust scrubbers. So there is a lot of pipes. You can see all of these pipes here are transporting exhaust water, right? Each of them is 450 because we do have a lot of exhaust. And then each of those pipes is going to go into, you know, two of these. Basically, two of these are linked to one pipe. With a bit more water, we're gonna make more sulfur. This is the other one that you see coming into the U-shaped balancer. And it's going to also make some carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide goes on this side over here, right? Again, this is one pipe for each, so it's easily organized, and then it goes into these chemical plants to make graphite. This way, we are making a lot of graphite that will be used into some of our factories, some of our blast furnaces. So I'm really happy with this centralization of exhaust. This way you need less, it's easier to manage. but we did needed a few more pipes for sure. And then last but not least, on this line, we have the rocks. Remember, the rock is the only mine on the map that is, forever map. There's no limit to this one. We're getting just a bit of rocks because, again, we don't really need that much. It's mostly for the fluoride that we need for medicine over here. We don't really need that much other, and there's no contract for it, right? If there was a contract, I would have used it, but there's no contract for it. Then here we have a big oil refinery, right? This is going to take a bit of vehicle parts again and give us a lot of crude oil. We have 8 lines of stage 1, 2, and 3, right? And then all of these transform into a couple of things, right? We're gonna make even more sulfur, for example. We're going to be able to make a lot of hydrogen. This hydrogen is then going to be used in a couple of productions. So for example, we have the polymerization plant for plastic. We have over here the rubber maker, right? We have the mixer to make acids, and we have also our first status, 2 statues of maintenance. So with a bit of gas, this is reducing our maintenance. And then last but not least, we have a wood there, where it used to be linked to rubber. Now I'm linking it to the household appliances, because just rubber, we needed too much. It was just too much rubber for the wood needed. Now we don't need a lot at all, right? It's only 127 for 1000 of wood. So this is a lot easier to manage, in my productions over here. And then reviewing, in the captain's office, what are we using? Well, we're giving a lot of food, right? We're giving plus 50% of food. This is giving us some unity. Then we're using some unity for a health bonus, right? Plus 20. We're using also a lot of unity to reduce the cargo ship fuel, to reduce the maintenance, the water, to reduce also to improve the recycling and to improve the farming. This is mostly why I don't need all of those farms anymore, right? Why I pause some of these. It's because we're using this farming boost. Now this farming boost is not free. First of all, it takes some unity, but most importantly, it also increases the water demand, which is why I've actually used this reduce water demand. This way, we're basically making more food for the same amount of water. So that's a pretty good deal. And yeah, as you saw, I clean all of the belt. Now they're all kind of one level. You have one level with all of the belt over here. They're a lot cleaner, I feel. See, pretty straight and everything. We have all of the productions that come this side, and then remember, they go over here into the main bus. The main bus is running. It's a circle, right? So everything is coming back, and we have for each of them those balancer that says priorities take whatever is still on the belt, right? And then to complete the belt, you can take new ones. We have, the recycling. I've made 3. So again, 3 is not needed into this state where I'm not building anything new or destroying things. But if you ever do, then you'll be glad that you have 3. And we do have, of course, some buffer too. Then we have all of the production over here. I have upgraded many of them, to robotics, either level 1, level 2. Most of the time is if I stopped at level 1 is because level 2 doesn't exist, right? You cannot do all production in level 2. As you can see, there's only a few that you can. The reason I did this is this way you need a lot less people. Remember that, our number of people is actually quite limited. So that's why we moved to a lot of robotic ones. Now that we have servers, but yeah, everything over here is working really well. It goes into the bus, and then as we said before, from there it can go to many places. For example, over here to our nuclear facility, or over there it will go, to the food. So yes, this custom map of Paris is now fully done. It's working perfectly, it's stable. And with this, we also created many blueprints. So don't hesitate to check once again in the video description below for the link to my Discord community, where you'll be able to find all of those blueprints for free. Speaking of that, I'm also thinking of updating my ultimate guide, my top 10 tips for the game with all of these new things, all of the update 1 and update 2 elements. So stay tuned for this. And speaking about update, we should actually get update 3 later this year. So do tell me in the comments below if you want a new series at that point, and maybe also, what map or challenges we should do for this next map. Thank you for watching to the end of this series, and check this video on the screen. YouTube thinks you will actually like it.